All right, good Tuesday evening, Village Tech. Welcome to our town hall on May 11th and Parent Connect meeting combined. We'll get started with the town hall here in just a minute or two. And then at the end of the town hall, which is on YouTube Live, there will be a link for Parent Connect dropped into the chat. Also, you can find it on our website under the calendar, under today's event. It's a Google Meet. We do the YouTube Live for the town hall because Google Meet can only hold 250 people, and the last town halls we've had have been over 250. So Google Meet will be for the Parent Connect, and here we are on YouTube Live for our town hall. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, Ben, how are we doing? We got people coming online? He says a few. So we'll give folks just a moment. I don't know if you traveled by canoe, kayak, or jet ski to get here after the last 24 hours. Woo! All right, it is 6:35. This is recorded, so people will be able to catch up later as they need to. Again, we'll start with our town hall, and then we will move into our Parent Connect meeting. Thank you, Sierra Kilpack, for leading that up for us this evening. It is the month of May at Village Tech. We have a number of things going on, from STAR and EOC testing to AP testing to iSign events to graduation on May 27th. And of course, Mosaic, our exhibition of learning on May 22nd, which will be the conversation during Parent Connect. So we've got a lot of great things happening for students this month, and we're excited for it. But we're going to talk about next year a little bit in this town hall. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the presentation. You will see the full screen, but we'll just hone in on the key parts of the presentation here. Testing again. Oh, perfect. Sorry for that. Continue. All right.
Audio was off.
Audio was off the whole time?
Yeah. Well, once we switched to the PDF.
Oh my. Well, we're going to back up, and you can see all the facial expressions again. Maybe you won't see the bright red that is seeping through my cheeks right now. But we're audio is back on, but we missed the previous part. Is that correct, Ben?
Everything
from the switch to the PDF.
From the switch to the PDF. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here we are. We'll roll with it. So let's back up a minute and start again at this original question. So now you can match what I'm saying with what my face and hands are doing in this process. All right. Thank you for bearing with us on getting the technical side of this correct. So this feels odd doing it again, but you didn't hear me, so you just watched me. So here we go again. How many of you remember that commercial from before of happy cows come from California, right? We all know that happy cows come from California, or at least that's what the commercials tell us and want us to believe about where happy cows come from. I was actually remembering this set of commercials and started looking them up on YouTube the other day, and I'd forgotten about what these commercials actually were, and it was a number of cows that were actually submitting audition tapes to be a happy cow from California. And so they had auditions from all over the world. And there was this one cow that I can only assume was from Minnesota because they had like this Minnesota accent, which I don't do accents very well, so there's my best attempt at it. And they said happy cows, this happy cow wanted to be in California. And so she's on, and the background is this bleak environment with snow and wind, and it's gray, and you can just tell it's fairly miserable weather. And she just says, I'm so excited to have an opportunity to apply and audition for being a happy cow from California. And she goes on to say, but I'm really going to miss it here. It's such a great environment. And I have so much to do and enjoy. And then she says, I'm lying. She just wants to be in California. She wants to make it out of these conditions she's in to get to a place where a happy cow would be from. And as I remembered this commercial, it begged a question for me. And that question was, so where do happy kids come from? And I don't mean happiness like situational happiness. I'm not talking about kids that get what they want, right? So it's their birthday and they got their new gaming station like a PS5 or an Xbox or a Nintendo Switch, or they got the shoes they wanted or the new bike or the pony or whatever the case may be. That's not the kind of happiness. I'm talking about happy in the sense that kids feel safe and cared for, intellectually and physically challenged, a part of a community, working with others towards things that matter to them, exploring things that are of interest to them, having accomplishments and wins along the way, facing obstacles, meeting them and overcoming them, or just learning from the experience. These things that really build confidence and happiness in kids and in people. And so then that reminded me of a question that we've asked over the years at Village Tech. And the first time we asked it was in 2012. And it was, what hopes do you have for your child? And I still have this list from 2012 of what hopes that you have for your child as parents, and that I have as a parent of now 2 teenagers. The time is counting down for me. And these are some of the things that we've said as parents of what do we hope for our children? To be armed with the tools they will need to take their place as loyal, dedicated, hardworking, innovative adults in the circle of life. Success as he sees it. One person even wrote, be happy. To grow up in the world with hope, a place for her to feel happy and comfortable and confident, excited about learning and looks forward to school daily, to have integrity and character and to be of service to all, to have a school family that encourages them to excel, love, and be a friend within their community, that my child get the best education possible without damaging his spirit. I hope that my children will continue to love learning, to be challenged daily, and to feel loved by their teachers. To be educated in an environment that embraces her differences and celebrates her successes. Celebrated as the special and unique person God created them to be. Successful, fearless, to have all of his curiosities answered. To be open-minded to things around them, but to not budge when it comes to our core values, to not lose their sense of wonder. So it brings me back to this question. So where do happy kids come from? And if we look at the statistics, that they may not be coming from the United States. If we look at the statistics on anxiety and depression among our young people, studies show that the United States is considered the most anxious nation in the world. You can take that for what it may, as with a grain of salt, if you were, but we know that 1/3 of adults take some kind of antidepressant, anti-anxiety in our country, and the studies point back to this idea that we're the most anxious nation in the world, and that today's children experience as much stress as a 1950s psychiatric patient. 2/3 of college students report anxiety, and 70% of teens say that anxiety and depression is a major problem among their peers. And I've talked about this before, but several years ago there was a convening of college deans and provosts and presidents in California to talk, and not where happy cows come from, right? In California, to talk about their students that were coming from high school. And what they said was that they were getting some of the best academic resumes and transcripts they'd ever seen, and that their students were burning out in epic proportions. They were hiring more counselors, psychiatrists, social workers, therapists to help manage the burnout that was taking place in these high school graduates. And when we think about these statistics, all of these stats were before COVID. So pile on a year of uncertainty, fear, loss, very real loss, isolation, and we have this kind of perfect storm brewing for social emotional concern among our students and ourselves. When we think about the causes of anxiety, depression, there's a few different factors out there. And these are just a few of them that are listed, some of the more important and kind of easy ones to grab onto. One is this very obvious like loss of community. And you see this bird isolated in this picture. This idea that we're disconnected from one another. We're disconnected from our friends, our family, whatever the case may be. When we have this isolation experience, this loss of community can lead to these feelings. Another one is information overload. The amount of information that comes at us today is at an unbelievable clip. I can't remember the exact statistic, but you've heard that the New York Times Sunday paper has more information than all the books that were available at various times in history. So we have information overload. Another one that doesn't get talked about a lot is this idea of vilifying negative emotions, that we take things that we see as negative and we turn them into our enemies, right? When the reality is all of these things are just part of the human experience, they're just part of who we are. And far too often our children aren't equipped with tools to understand these emotions, understand how they're responding to them, develop a sense of self-awareness, social awareness, and how to regulate in the midst of them. We can't really control them, but we can learn how to regulate them. And then this idea of high expectations for wealth, right? We see what others have, this standard of living, and we expect that for ourselves. And if we don't live up to these expectations, this can create disappointment. This can create these feelings of anxiety and depression as well. And then, of course, social media. I'm not sure if you've seen the documentary, The Social Dilemma, that points to how social media really feeds on our brain chemistry and our brain patterns. And for teenagers in particular, we have this need to be connected, and the things that students can say and do to one another on social media and the comparison traps that we can find ourselves in this environment. All of these things contribute to this increase in anxiety and depression. And let's kind of be upfront about when we talk about this, when we think about anxiety and depression for our students, when we think about this isolation, this loss of community, this how to deal with these emotions, how to cope in this world of social media and connectedness, or digital connectedness, which sometimes isn't really connected. What we're talking about is how are we preparing them for the hopes that we expressed earlier that we have for our children. That to have this social emotional instability or unsettled feeling or challenge is in fact an obstacle for our students in terms of their academic performance, the technical skills they're going to gain, the professional skills they're going to gain. If we're starting in this kind of deficit feeling, then it's that much harder to get over the hump for this. And we find ourselves collectively asking this question, what can we do about this together? If you're watching the news, reading the newspaper, or hearing about life in schools, you've heard about the COVID slide, learning loss, learning deficits, learning gaps. And while there's a great deal of truth to the fact that the last year for all students across the country has created a cause for concern around where are they academically, I think we have to first address this question of where are they? How are they doing? Where do happy kids come from? I found this, I love this. It says, I keep hearing it takes a village to raise a kid. So do they just show up? Is there a number to call? I think they're having trouble finding me. I don't know if you felt that way this year a little bit, just especially from last March for several months, this sense of like, where might the community be? And as we opened up in October to see students coming back and then worked with students virtually to make these connections, I know our teachers, one of their primary concerns was how do we continue to make the kinds of real and authentic connections we want to with our students while they're in person and online. And so how does this village come together, right? What can we do about this together? So I want us to think forward to 2021, 2022. We're putting a bow on this year. We're putting a bow on the 2020, 2021 experience, and we're gearing up for the future. And what can we do together about the challenges our students are facing? Whether they're the technical skills they need to gain, the academic skills, the professional skills, or the social emotional skills. And some thoughts towards that, and then some concrete things for you to know about this upcoming school year. This first idea of how can we build a sense of agency, wonder, and connection for our students as these months unfold. As the vaccine rolls out, as herd immunity takes effect, as COVID continues to be a part of our world, but starts to take a back seat to the way we do things. I don't have a crystal ball. I've said that over the last year a number of times. But as of right now, I do not anticipate a fall where we see the same degree of COVID protocols, not just for public schools, but for our local communities, our state, our nation at large. The mask wearing that has been prevalent, I don't see those things continuing into the same degree that they have. Time will tell. We'll see what happens as the summer unfolds, but that's where we're planning for at Village Tech. So when we talk about building a sense of agency, this is about students' ability to choose, to engage in the work around them, to engage in the world around them. When we think about wonder, I love this picture as this pre-K student creates this calm down bottle and the wonder in her eyes, a sense of wonder about the world around them, to ask questions, to be curious, to be engaged. Has anyone else noticed over the last year, not just their own children, but themselves kind of slipping into this kind of hole of looking at a phone or looking at a screen or TV or computer, or kind of isolating unintentionally? Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe no one else is going through this. No one else is seeing this in their kids. But I think we've all seen some changes in ourselves and in our students over the last year. And having a sense of wonder about the world around us is a step towards healing from what we've all collectively been through. And then connection, to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, to be a part of a team and a group and a family. That is Village Tech. So what are some things we know and some decisions that are being made about next year at VT that we can hang our hats on? So some things to know for 2021, 2022. We've talked about it as a school community, as a leadership team, and we've made the decision that 100% of our students will be on campus and in-person classes. We are not going to continue to provide a hybrid option with a virtual experience and an in-person experience. We're going to move to 100% on campus and in-person. When we think about the needs of our students, the needs of our school community, it is imperative that we come back in person to begin learning together face-to-face again. Is that to say we'll never pursue online learning or there won't be online possibilities in our future? Of course not. but we're going to take our efforts, our energy, our time, and invest them in the face-to-face experience, in the in-person on-campus classes. The second thing is a new campus structure. We're still one village, pre-K-12, but we've been a pre-K-5 campus and a 6-12 campus. We're going to break those down and make those a little bit smaller. So we're going to move to a pre-K-4 lower elementary school and a 5-8 middle junior high school and then a 9-12 upper high school. So we'll have 3 campuses within this one village. And we'll talk about what that looks like as the year ends and the summer unfolds, and there will be communication from those campus leadership teams getting excited about this upcoming year. Also, the return of X classes and electives. If you're new this year, you don't even know what I'm talking about when it comes to X classes. So the idea of X classes is how can we build student interest-based experiences that lead to passion, play, and purpose. So opportunities for kids to explore things that are outside of the normal state curriculum. So we've had duct tape classes, archery classes, yoga, robotics. We've had gaming and design classes, sewing. You name it. There's been a number of student interests that have come out in these X classes. Will they be called X classes? Will they be the exact same form as X classes in the past? I don't yet know, but essentially creating time within our school schedule for students to pursue interest-based courses like what we've had with X classes. And then, of course, electives at the high school level. And then including athletics in grades 5 and up. So we'll have athletic offerings. This year we provided athletics, but it may have been something that, unless your child was participating, you didn't see much of because we weren't able to provide an opportunity for visitors and guests and fans to see our students compete and perform in these experiences. So we will have athletics in all things that I can tell with an opportunity for fans to come back. And then, of course, a continued focus on social emotional learning and leadership skills. For our students to gain self-awareness, social awareness, responsibility, decision-making skills, for us to really have an understanding of where we are. And I use the word healing for our students. They don't necessarily know how to articulate it. They don't know how to say what it's been to them this year. But at Mosaic, our exhibition of learning on May 22nd, I would encourage everyone to take some time to watch the first grade video that's been produced about their experience in quarantine. It's pretty incredible to hear from them firsthand, their words, their eyes, what they've lived through. And so giving that support so that we can make the statement that happy kids come from Village Tech. Friday partnerships. So we know we've approved our calendar, Monday through Thursday schedule, very similar to this year. Friday, this year, we were not in a position to pursue Friday partnerships. Again, most places had so many COVID restrictions, they were not able to take on additional people and students. But like in the past, if you've been here before, when we had half-day Wednesday partnerships, we're in the process of building out some Friday partnerships so that you can have a place for your student with local community, things like the rec centers, libraries, local art studios like Visual Expression Creative Art Studio in Cedar Hill. We've had karate classes in the past. And if you or a business or a local provider of these types of services are interested in being a part of these Friday partnerships, reach out to us. You can email Heather Perry at hperry@villagetechschools.org. And then, of course, resuming campus events and traditions. The big first day of school, rolling out the purple carpet, having the music playing, homecoming, and all of the different festivities and activities, dances, exciting opportunities for kids to come together and play together and just be kids and enjoy the school experience and build these bonds. And maybe there's new traditions that still need to be created for next year that we don't yet know about. So those are some things we know about next year. I also know that the academic and social challenges presented by this pandemic will not be solved in a summer or a school year. It will take a multi-year commitment from all of us to create conditions for our students to gain confidence, compassion, and hope for their futures. So the original question, where do happy kids come from, and what can we do about this together, leads to this idea of what can I do next? As a parent, what can I do next? 3 simple things. The first, register for the 21-22 school year. Registration is open. The link is available and accessible. You can begin that process so that we can begin preparing for you in the 2021-2022 school year. Go ahead and get yourself registered. Also, plug into Parent Connect. This is a great opportunity to meet other parents, to get the lay of the land from VT veteran parents who know how to show you the ropes. It's a great online right now meeting place, and it's happening directly after this meeting. So we're going to put the Parent Connect Google Meet in the chat. So when this town hall concludes, you can just click on it. And then also, I know the conversation today is about volunteering with Mosaic, our exhibition of learning on May 22nd. If you're a new parent to VT or a second-year parent, last year we had an online exhibition. And while we made the most of what was in front of us, it's just simply not the same thing. And so it's a ticketed event. You'll want to make sure that you get tickets for yourself, your family, your friends. Come out and see these students present. I can tell you that the campus has been abuzz with students painting and creating and sewing and making and building and testing and trying and failing. One of my favorite moments was walking out, and they're working on this Newton's cradle with bowling balls, and they're all just staring at it like this. And there was another young man kind of standing off to the side, and I said, well, what's going on? He goes, well, they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I was like, oh yeah, well, what do you think's going on? He says, I don't know. I think the ropes not working for us. We got to figure out something different. I said, okay. So what are you gonna do? He said, well, maybe if we just tied it with a different kind of knot and change the links, then we might be able to fix it. And so just love the students getting ready to present something of significance to them at this exhibition. In a year where so many things have been canceled and postponed for all of our students and kids, what a great thing it will be to have this event for them to present what's important to them. And then, of course, tell your friends and families about VT. We do have some spots still available for the upcoming school year. We have an enrollment goal of 1320 that we've set as a school community. And so tell your friends and family about VT so they can come on board. So what can you do as a parent? Get registered, plug into Parent Connect, and volunteer with Mosaic. And then tell your friends and family about VT. Of course, there will be some summer learning opportunities as well. That's our town hall. If you have any questions, we're not going to answer them, but if you haven't asked them, go ahead and get them in the chat so that we can get those recorded. I'll give that just a moment so that if you have questions, you can get those in the chat. We'll get those captured, and then we'll be able to follow up later with that. But with the audio challenge at the beginning, it pushed our time a little bit. I want to make sure that our Parent Connect time and exhibition discussion has all the time they need to be successful this evening. So again, take just a moment and ask a question in the chat. We'll get those captured. And feel free, if you were here, once this link posts with the recorded, feel free to share it out. We'll, of course, share it out on our channels through our Skyward email as well as other channels. And then you can send it to friends as well so that they can have this information if they weren't able to be a part of this. All right, on that note, again, join up for the Parent Connect meeting. It is starting right now. Thank you so much for being a part of this town hall. Thank you so much for being a part of Village Tech in this incredible school year. Our students are learning significant things. They're doing meaningful work, and this year is one for the books, for them to show us what it is that they know, what they've gained, how they've adapted, how they've overcome these challenges in their lives. And I cannot wait to see the types of young men and women that they're becoming as they continue to progress through this environment, as they become creative and confident and courageous adults. That's the work that we're doing together. That's the work we're all committed to. And it's going to take all of us coming together to answer that question of what can we do about this for our kids and for our students. Thank you so much. Great to be in this environment. I am excited for an in-person town hall, maybe with this technology accessible, but something where we can get together again in person. So thank you and have a great evening.